So thank you, Delegate Carter. So tell me a little bit about the session. How's it going? What's going on so far? What do you need people to know about?
The session, I always say, is like 90 days on the Stairmaster at level 50. At least it is like that for me. So, you know, I put in, I guess, 90 some bills I was a co-sponsor on. I think 17 or 18 a lead sponsor. And first you sponsor your bills, then you have bill hearings on them, and then you have to fight tooth and nail to get them passed out of committee into the floor and then across the other side. And that's, with 3 weeks left in the session, that's the stage where we are now. But it's been hectic, and I've had some successes, and I'm still waiting to get some other bills out.
Okay. Well, I know tonight is the 41st District meeting tonight. You weren't part of the program. How do you feel about not being actually on the program tonight?
I thought it was more of one of the most difficult things about the process of being in elected office when you have to work with other people in the same district. Sometimes they've tended to let jealousy and envy or fear, I suppose, you know, keep them from really, I think, working together as much as we should. We could be a much stronger team if they would work together. So I thought it was wrong. I thought that it was very different, very, very wrong to have an event and say it's the 41st district and not include me and Delegate Oaks as well.
Sure. I think from the street standpoint, you're one of the most popular delegates that I always hear about. So I was surprised that they would not have you actually on the program.
Well, I think there's a big difference between, you know, what people may say in the street and, you know, the practical reality. People need to understand the science to this process of being elected in office. And the people that were invited here were largely community leaders from different communities and neighborhoods. And I think that the message that the senator and the delegate that controls her sent was one of that there is a divide between us. I think that was the wrong message to send. The truth is we disagree a lot on serious state issues, but for the most part, we've been able to work together on behalf of the communities in the district pretty well. So I just think it's wrong to send a message to people that, you know, we're divided and we're a united team and we can't work together.
And how could the community be more supportive of you?
Understand that this is war. It's really not a game or a joke, and I love people and I love the support and I love to champion causes and issues. I love the privilege of being elected in office. I love being a voice of people in Annapolis. But what I don't love is sometimes feeling that I'm doing it alone. I'd like to have more support in terms of people understanding that whatever you're doing in the community, whatever organization you're in, whatever cause you're championing, whatever good you're doing, you know, you have a prison ministry, a prison program, or you have a youth program, or you have a program that you're taking into the schools. All of that is connected to the political process here in Annapolis. All of that is connected in terms of budget concerns, whether or not we can assist you in funding. If it's dealing with education or the criminal justice system or anything, that's all related to the political process. So you can't separate the two and just think that the people you elect to office are somehow different, separate, and apart from what efforts that you're making. It has to be more cohesive, I suppose. People need to black out the time just like we do. From January to April, and come to Annapolis, watch legislation, support legislation that is important to them, try to work against and oppose legislation that they feel is bad, and work with me and work with other legislators. And they also need to hold legislators accountable. Those that champion your interest or support your interest, you need to support them. And those who don't, you need to not support them. You can't allow people that continually work against your interest to get reelected and reelected and never be held accountable to the community.
It seems like we have to move people from being really passive to more active, that most people go out, we champion voting and getting out to vote, but we don't take them to the next level of getting them more actively involved.
Absolutely. And, you know, look beyond the mainstream media. Look beyond what's reported, the tidbit that's given in the Sun or the Post. Sometimes they get a general idea of you know, the issue, but for the most part, it's spin, it's slant, it's very, very superficial probing into an issue, or the politics behind what's going on. For example, some people thought death penalty repeal was a big deal this session. It really was smoke and mirrors. It was a red herring. I'm not making light of the issue of death penalty. I've always opposed. I am for repeal. But in my view, the fix was in very early, and it was always, it then began to be an issue that simply deflected people's attention away from the more important issues because there was no imminent need to do anything this session. And I also believe that the so-called proponents of the legislation for repeal, had their hearts been in it and had it been really sincere, they would have been able to get it passed.
Is there any pending legislation that you need any help or support on?
Absolutely. My teen tween dating violence abuse, I don't think the legislature likes it all that much. They tend to like legislation where we're punishing people that's more punitive. Once there's been a tragedy or some violence inflicted on someone, they're very much into let's put them in jail forever, let's do mandatory minimums, let's have enhanced penalties, let's take guns away. But teen tween dating violence, education and prevention is a legislation that would prevent these problems from happening, prevent families from being destroyed, prevent Rihanna, Chris Brown situations all over the city and the state. And so let's do prevention. So I need help with that because I don't love it. So I need people to contact the Ways and Means Committee and the Judiciary Committee and say, let that bill out. It's House Bill 845. And all it does is say we're going to educate and work on prevention efforts and raise awareness for teen tween dating violence and provide resources and information to children at the beginning with 5th grade in the public school system. And it's already been done. People testified at my bill hearing. It's already done in the private schools. It's only the public school children that are deprived of that right now. But I did recently get another bill, House Bill 1227, passed out of the Judiciary Committee. It'll be on the floor tomorrow in second reader. And I think it's a great bill. It's a bill that in Baltimore City, most of our children, if they're over the age of 14, are charged as adults and then some are waived back into juvenile court. It's called a reverse waiver. And no matter the outcome in juvenile court, if they're found delinquent, if the charges are such that they're meted out and there are delinquency findings, well, when they get to be adults, those juvenile records are sealed. But those adult charges remain. And this bill would have it so that when the case is waived to back to juvenile court, the adult charges would automatically be expunged. I think that's very important. It's a baby step. It's about 1/5 of the bill I proposed. It's about 1/5 of the bill I proposed, but it's still a baby step, and it's still a very significant bill, very significant accomplishment. I still passed a bill, House Bill 569, that basically gives the circuit court judge authority to stay a sentence in a district court pending an appeal and release a defendant on bail. And I think that's a great bill. Many people may not really understand the significance, but if you practice in the courts or have any exposure to district court, you'll know that district court is usually just a place that we pass by as attorneys and defendants. The reason is we know there's no justice there. So oftentimes we won't try, we say in the defense bar, it's almost a malpractice to try a case in the district court. And then if you try the case, they say, well, you can always appeal to the circuit court, but it's too late then because usually if you get found guilty, the sentence is low, and by the time you appeal, it's over. Anyway, the bill just says that the circuit court, upon the filing of an appeal, a circuit court judge now has the authority to grant that bail for someone, even if they've been found guilty in district court, and a stay of that sentence. And these are usually minor crimes. These are usually cases that a lot of people won't even attempt to do in a district court.
Well, thank you.
Carter is doing an outstanding job in our district, 41st district. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job.
You guys are so cute.